Alrighty, welcome back. Uh, let's pick up about where we left off. Let's see. And just doing some what I call rat killing today. We'll be going over, I kind of went over the windshield already, but we'll go over the glass and whatever else we need to just kind of tighten up yeah, and the textures were not completely associated yet, it seems, so we'll have to fix some textures. Maybe close the doors. Just get it looking a little better so we can work on it. Oh, there's some glass, so good. We'll go through the glass one more time real quick. It's pretty easy in this the newer that, and we'll select the seat. In the newer SDK to do the glass in Windows. Uh, before you had to mess with the server with the what I'm considering the blender settings here, but really now all you got to do is set it in the Microsoft Flight Sim in the plugin settings, and it's good to go. Like this seat. Now this guy did excellent. All his textures or materials have the name of the texture, so that's what we're looking for. So we'll set that to standard. And then scroll down here and open and look for seat PNG. I love that he did that. That makes it really nice to reset the textures. And then we have model. Now his exterior was just texture, and his interior is named interior. And he has a few other parts for the interior. There. Let's see. Get. There we go. And there's interior. See, yeah, that's cool. He really did help us out. That one. Getting most of the interior kind of lined up. Get in here. Mouse button Alt. Be in here where we're going to be working. I'm not going to worry about getting all the textures, but I'm having trouble getting a view here. There we go. Overhead. Like I said, he really did a great job making the materials the same. So we're looking for an overhead. There it is. Wow. We didn't get those. Switch. But yeah, every one of them. It's like amazing. No hunting for it here. He actually pre-planned people lose their association, I think. And you see it gets more than what you assign. Anything with the same textures. Okay, so let's get rid of this glass or make it invisible. All of this has glass, and it's on this transparent. Now, before you'd have to mess with these, and now you don't really need to do that. This would be if it were a windshield, you just go to windshield. Here it's glass, and the main difference is, as far as I know, is that it doesn't have the environmental effects. I could be wrong. There could be many other. And then here, like I say, the SDK says 0.01, but the common practice from what I've seen is 0.05, and either will work. And there we go. Now we can see through the glass, and we can see the gauges. Then to see the gauges, we have to set ASI PNG. Here, open ASI. And boom, now we have a gauge. And that's ALT, alternator. That's how you're gonna set all these gauges. I'm probably not gonna go through them all. The gauges have more than anything else. There's your alternator. So we'll have to go through and get those. I think those two, and at least one more is what I had planned. Oh, the compass. Let's mag compass. I love that. That's just too easy to set the textures for this airplane. Look for mag compass. There we go. I think those three are the gauges that I'm probably going to set up. Maybe a vertical speed. I don't know. But when we get that far. So yeah, what we're going to need, let's get this thing here. The reason is I know for a fact this will show outside the aircraft when I'm doing other stuff, and it'll bug me. And this, he has a pedestal. There we go. Now let's and yoke. I'm just so there's going to be a lot of repetitive work here finding this. But you see why I like to put them right here. Number one, it duplicates the folder structure that the game uses, which is totally unnecessary. I don't know why I do that. I just like to. All right. Well, there. Now we at least have that. Save. And the other thing, now let's unhide my windows, Alt H. Now the other thing is we have the windows, but you're still, the rain effect is totally separate from the game, and there's two things you need. You need windows, and they have to be facing inward, which is odd. In other words, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right now they're facing outward. I don't know. It's hard to say with glass. Maybe take it off of that. Yeah. In other words, right now they're facing outward. Yeah. If you look on the inside, it's red. And if you look on the outside, it's blue. Which sounds right? I mean, that's, oh, well, you want to be able to. But if you're talking about rain effect, you want it to show from the inside when you're in the cockpit. So in that case, the glass needs to be facing inward, and we'll cover that real quick. So let's remove this. Okay. So to change the glass around, we're gonna go here to edit mode. Make sure you select all, mesh, normals, flip. Okay, we'll get out of here, and just so you can see, or just so we can double check, now they're all red except for this one and this one. I'll do the same thing. Make sure that everything's selected, mesh, normals, flip. Alright, now this one obviously wouldn't matter, but there. Now all our windows are facing in. I really do need to close these doors, don't I? Yeah, we'll worry about that later. But there's one other thing that's required for the rain effects, and that's the occluder. Now, if you look like it junks this video, it's simple, straightforward stuff. You literally just set it and it works. Well, I've had trouble. I've got 3 plugins and 2 versions of Blender, and I've tried those settings and everything 3 times with all 3 setups, and it didn't work. And I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out why or whatever. Finally, I ended up just importing one, and it worked. So I'm gonna now for this part we'll use the Blender 2.9, and I'm using the fly-by-wire plugin. So I'm using the older plugin that's still great for. But the reason I like it is it has the importer, and as far as I know, it's the only one that does. And it's great for other things aside from what I'm about to do. I mean, you know, if you want to open an official aircraft, we could use any aircraft. We'll just grab the first one here. And the excluder, the file that we're trying to grab, this is just a particular type of file parameters that we need, is in the interior. And so yeah, it's real great if you want to look at textures, how they have their animations or anything set up. You know, it's nice to have this plugin set up. Let this load in, and I'll show you what the link down there. And you know, it's nice to be able to look at the default aircraft sometime. So you know, this is the one that go to your community. Now this is here's the one that Jonks was using. It's not. I have it installed, but it's not enabled. Here's the one I'm using for this video, and you'll know you have the right one if you have all this stuff. You have the preferences for it below here. Here's the current version. So, and it'll import. It'll even people were like, it didn't import animations. Well, actually, I think it did even back when. I just don't think people knew how to find them. And like even these, they're there. They're just tiny. And you know, and people probably didn't zoom in. They probably didn't realize that they were only a few frames long. Most people, you know, you expect to see, you know, this. You know, that's only 20 frames, but a lot of animations are 100, 400 frames. You know, whatever, 500 frames. Here they're using some that are only 3 and 4 frames. So I think a lot of people just didn't even see them. But anyway, let's get back to work. So we'll hide some of the stuff we don't need. Now, that right there, the green looking. All right, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to select Control C, and I'm going to copy. Now, at this point, I want a new version. I got too many versions going here. Can I get out of this one? Did I save? Okay. Let's start a new one. And we'll go to a new version. And what I'm doing is moving it from 2.9 here. I've copied it in 2.9, so I want to move it and get it into my 3.0. So we'll Control V here. Now, I don't really want to swipe per se, borrow the entire thing, and we could. I mean, we could then try and arrange that to fit whatever we want. But here's a little trick. What I need is to get just the material properties. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and here's what. And from edit mode, I'm just gonna add a cube. And here's the thing: it keeps the property. So you see, you know, now we'll just get rid of this. So Control L to get rid of it. Delete vertices. And go back into projects. Now this is going to be big enough to encapsulate most full-size smaller aircraft. So I'm going to shrink it a little bit. And then just for fun, yeah, we'll put it at 000. Just for fun. I'll go to 000. All right. And then you save that. that's now your occluder, and this will work in the game. The others, I couldn't get them to work. So, then I would save that as occluder and have, I might as well, right? And we'll save it right here in our models folder. Perfect. And now we can use that. Let's see, we can get out of this older version. We're done with it. But you can also copy pretty much anything you want, even models. I mean, that's just a particular file that we copied out. But let's see. Say you wanted this plate. And if you Alt selected a few buttons, you could effectively bring over this, and of course you'd still have to code it all, but you could effectively, Control C, it copied 5 items that I had selected, and then Control C back in another version, and you could copy those models. Now, then you'd still have to code them, every switch would have to be fixed and coded. Let's get out of this old version. And this is what we need to bring into our model. So we'll go back and reopen our model. And now there's our saved little file. And we'll Control C, Control V. Now we have a good working environmental occluder. And now this does 2 things. One, as far as I know, and I'm kind of going out on a limb and guessing here because I really don't know. Assumptions, all that. But my understanding is this occluder does 2 different things. One, I'm just kind of sizing it, and I want it to enclose the entire cabin. And the reason is because my understanding is it does 2 things. One, it triggers the rain effect. If you don't have this, you won't get rain. That's simple. I got it way too big. The other part that I believe it does is I know it does, is it occludes or prevents the rain from showing up in the cockpit. So if you're sitting there in the front seat, you don't see rain falling, through the windshield across the dashboard, which it will do without the occluder. Now, I don't know. We won't get any rain on these, or probably won't, because the glass has to be fully encapsulated. This is my understanding, in this occluder for it to work. All right. So we have an occluder, and that, we'll try that. Save. And you can hide this, for instance. I can hide this if you don't want it. You really should, if you looked at what we imported, in the other blender. It was nice and neat. Yeah, sure. And when it wrapped around the cabin, that's why they put them on the inside. I don't think they actually shrink wrap it. If they do, then they enlarge it slightly. So you should really make it a little better than a square box. I'm just doing it that way for the video. So you can also hide it though, so that way if you're working on your model, you don't have to fight with that occluder. So we'll export this and make sure our, see how to do a few more. Well, we got the gauges that we'll be using probably, or at least to start with eventually. I do need to close these. These are a little bit of an issue. There's actually 3 parts to the door. There's an inside and outside, and then there's a rim here plus the glass. So you got to be sure and move them all at the same time and get them closed. but that won't matter for now. Let's save and export. Alright, separate, so all our settings are still working. Export. Do I need to do anything? No? Let's see. Yeah, I threw, here's the download for the aircraft and my resources. And that's just where I put the extras. So, make a good place to put the extras. So yeah, you got to make sure your glass is pointing in because you're actually sitting on the inside when you want to, to view the rain effect or whatever. So. Same meshes that are apparently the builder handles it for you. So might be something missing somewhere we don't know. But there's two files that I've actually had to steal out of the game. That one and the reg plates. I do the same thing to get a registration plate to apply to, and because those two, I just information's hard to find, and they're not specific about those two files, or I haven't found where they are in the SDK. If they do mention, or well, the properties for the other one is probably just the 3ds Max, so we're kind of dependent on the plug-in, and there's no documentation on that for certain things. But that and the HTML registration plaque, or whatever you want to call it, are the two that I've borrowed out of the game, and it's the same thing. If you import just the registration plaque, and actually I think I just deleted all but one and saved it, but you should be able to do the same thing, create new, so long as you're in edit mode with those selected. It should carry the properties over. But yeah, I just once I had them imported, I'm like, well, go into edit mode, delete all but one of them, center it up, and there you go. Now you have a new a new example of that registration plate ready to import and apply. I went ahead and grabbed like the occluder, the collision mesh, and so on. I threw it in the pack just for people that don't want to have to use that. Look at what we have. We need to go into game to test the rain. So go into the ramp. Put a little light on the subject. You can tell it's early here. Yeah, but for me, it's worth having the second. Now here's a little quirk. If you're installing two versions of Blender, whatever Blender you install last is going to be default. So if you already have like the newer version and then you install the older version, but you want the newer version to be the default one, then you have to. Yeah, actually, I think you can go into Windows app settings and repair it, and it'll reset it as the primary. Repair the version you want, but you'd almost have to reinstall I think that's what I did when I first did it. I already had the newer one. I installed the old one and realized it already, if I double clicked on just a blend file, it would open the last version that you installed, whichever version was last. So I ended up having to reinstall the newer version. I mean, I wanted the older one, but I wanted it to be like shortcut link only. I didn't want it to be default. But for me, it's well worth having the extra version so I can open up default aircraft and see how things work. See how they put things together. You can compare their code to what they have. Like I said, the animations are a little bit different. I tried to do like the basic flight animations, flight controls, exactly how they say in the SDK, and they didn't work. They were all glitchy. So I have a feeling there's definitely something odd about that. So let's see, get inside. Now I don't know how you have the arrow keys. It'll move you left, right, up and down. So I just turned sideways to go forward and back. Wow, that's blurry. Why is it so blurry? I guess maybe I do need to adjust the roughness. That's what it is. Yeah, I need to get rid of the roughness. So I did that too quick. I guess. Anyway, let's. Why do I not have the? I must have been flying. I don't have developer mode on. And there's our rain. And you can see it spewing, but I think that maybe I need to. Let's see. But I may need to get rid of that. Yeah, I think I need to smooth that out. I think the roughness is causing that blurry. Although actually it wasn't blurry from back there, was it? Huh. Well, it is working on the side windows. I didn't think it'd work on the doors. Alright. Oh, well, while we're here, let's go ahead and do the rest. So yeah, we'll probably have to reset that to a clear, smooth. I'll have to double check that. I'm not sure exactly what that is. The mode open. So we want to open the project. Right now our project is right here somewhere. There it is. We'll open the project in the SDK, which is actually the first time, but we could have done that since day one. We need the inspector. We'll select on the object itself and load an editor, and that gives us this. Now I'm just gonna get the inspector, and I'll get this all out of the way. Now this tool is pretty cool. First thing, and you can go through every one of these, but we're only covering a couple of things today, the basics. The first thing is the viewpoint, because obviously this is our starting interior viewpoint. Is not really cutting it. Let's go and do our developer camera. Oh, sorry, dog. Well, okay, you can't lay on my cord. I need that. Hold up. That's why I was fighting me for my console controller. Yeah, we're gonna have to redo those doors. They're just annoying me too much. Let's see. So yeah, we're way back there, and we're actually, our viewpoint is up here at the top of this. So this is our default viewpoint, and then whatever settings we have, like for view up and down, will be affected after the fact. But we're just gonna go maybe that far. Go down a little bit, maybe that far. And then I love this aircraft editor. You can save it. That actually writes to the files. And then resync will reload it. And that's you can save and resync all at once. Is what I should have done, but yeah, it's cool. Okay, now if we get out of our developer camera, that's where our view goes to. And I even have a reset view, so yeah, that actually, let's see. Maybe may have went too far. Definitely a little high. Let's go back to our dev camera. Maybe click the gizmo again. I want to go back just a fuzz. Down a little more. Save and resync. And this is why you got the gizmos and the save and resync. I mean, in the old days, we'd have to adjust numbers. And I can show you where these numbers are. I guess I should. That would be part of it. The numbers we're actually affecting right now would be these right here. Get out of camera and go back in. That's not bad. Go out. Go down and out just a fuzz, or down and back just a tiny bit. I'm going to call that good. This is also when and where we'll go ahead and fix our wheels so they're not sitting in the ground here. What did I say? We'll go back and down maybe that much. Save and resync. Okay, before we even look at that, let's where we got weights. I say I'm not I don't use this in here that much, so it's kind of yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll live with that. Alright. Next thing I want to do is kind of set it up right. So this is in the flight model, contact points, and these are probably the only two we're going to mess with here, just for the moment. You really should go through all of these. I mean, these are the equivalent of basically all these config files, and you really should go through them, but use caution. I mean, back your stuff up. Because you know, if you change some of these, you know, these files, and that's basically these. But if you change some of these, like in systems and engines, you'll end up with a non-working project. So just be sure and change and back things up when you do stuff. Contact points, tail wheel lock, gear locked on ground. We're gonna go all the way down to this part here. The top three are usually gonna be your wheels, and that's the case. Then you got scrape points. We're only concerned about the top three. There's the front wheel, and as you can see, it's a little far in. We're gonna slide it out till it lines up. That looks pretty good, and obviously it's a little not low enough. Slide it down. Guess, from that mark down, that looks about where it needs to go. Then we can go to another one. Is that? Yeah, that's this one. And it's in the wrong place, so we'll slide it back. Okay. Looks like it's way outbound. Yeah, it's also outbound too far. And I'm going to leave it toward the outside of the tire because that's kind of what gives you your wheelbase. So, we're going to cheat it as, a fuzz. And then now these, I'm going to go down a little bit, just there. I actually fine-tune with numbers, and the reason being so I can get them exactly the same left and right. But we'll get them roughly close, like right here. I said I'm kind of cheating that just a fuzz on that because it gives you a little more stability, at least until we get to that point. I'm not super great, I'll be honest, at the alright, well, save and resync that, at the performance and all that. I mean, I can do basic generic stuff, but the engine performance is not my forte. Well, look at that, almost looks pretty good. Is this wheel, which one? That one looks pretty good. Wrong buttons. Nope, that's a fuzz high. They're both a fuzz high, but they're pretty dang good. Alright, well, let's point to X, Y, and Z. So, well, let's try minus 80. We'll get one of them right. We're working on this one. I doubt I moved it enough to matter. Nope. Let's go to, oh, this should be minus, so it'll be going up. I actually raised it, right? No, go down would be less height. 7.5. That looks like a winner. We could even go a little further. Yeah, that'll be good. So we'll just set this one at the same thing. Control C. Control V. Alright, now let's see what we got here. We got 73533. Let's go 5.2. Then out, we'll just make them the same. Same with the top, we'll make the same. Let's go with 5.0. Just splitting the difference, whatever numbers are there, I'm just kind of splitting the difference and making them the same. Wait a minute, I did that wrong. There it is. Move some scrape point, I think. Let's see what that looks. That shouldn't really affect anything. We should the only thing we really should have affected, yeah, is lowering this down. Let's lower the front one down just a fuzz. Let's go to 4.0. To start, well, if that's gonna be enough. Not quite. Still up there. Minus 3. 9.5 maybe. So the difference is you know, minus whatever units from the just notice that that pipe isn't going all the way to the wheel. Gonna have to lower the pipe or raise the wheel. I should have just lowered the pipe before we did that, but too late. I'll give it a little bit more down. Yeah, definitely needs just a fuzz more. Go to the 5. No. Actually, let's go 2.5. It's barely touching, but it's, it looks like it's a balloon. It's floating there. There we go. Now it's kind of sitting there solid. Alright, you can, let's see. Alright, let's save that. Yeah, that's saved. Alright, the other thing we wanted to look at is, that's our contacts. I do like to look in here. This gives you some reference. That's your, that's your reference datum. So all those numbers, like the -3 or whatever, that's from this point. -3 down, out that far. That's the, and then the center weight, that's, ooh. Well, it ain't bad. Looks a little higher than I would have expected. I want it. I'm gonna cheat it down. Alright, what I'm actually here for is this right here. And what we're looking at is pilot, front passenger, and all these. Now we have extras that we don't actually have in game. I should have edited, I'm going to have to edit some of these. Well, we don't have middle passengers and rear passengers. Can we delete here? Yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and kind of start. All right, here's our pilot weight, and that's our pilot position. Looks all right, but I think I want it here, over here. So we'll put that one there. And this is the same thing, only the pilot, so we'll move it over. Actually, we could copy the numbers. Would be the correct way to do it. So you have, you know, you want to get it evenly. 09 minus 09. Okay. Seeing it in the same place. I'll make sure I didn't mess up with my numbers. Seems even. Left and right and forward and back. Just not left and right and forward and back together. Alright, baggage nose. We have none. Or do we? Yeah, we could leave baggage. Middle passengers, right. Middle passengers looks pretty good. For back passengers, for me. So we're going to use those for the back passengers. I'm just going to set them right here. Middle passenger left. Move him over to. I'm not gonna copy numbers. You should copy numbers and get this exact. Baggage. Where's the back payload? Center. We'll leave the payload. Well, that looks pretty good. Drop it down a little. All that good. And I'll just delete these rear passengers. And I don't know what this middle passenger is. Where is he? Okay, that's an extra passenger. Now we have front. This would actually be co-pilot, yeah. So then we have middle, which we'll rename in the configs. Nose baggage. I didn't really look at that. I don't know if this thing would have any nose baggage. I don't think it would. So let's just delete that. All right. There. Now we've got. Uh-oh. Where's our undo? Oh, amazing. Nose left and right. So where's the regular passengers? Baggage. Huh. Now I'm confused. Didn't I just set a baggage? Oh, there it is. No? I'm going to use that middle passenger for baggage. That's what it is, so I need to leave that middle passenger. I can get rid of the nose, two nose ones, and get rid of the two back ones. Okay, there we go. Let's save that. And what else were we gonna do in here? You could, this is also where I would use this for the lights, to position my lights and such, which would be in, where would it be? Systems? Yeah. And you can show the navigation. The first ones are usually your navigations, and those are the ones you're going to want them. You know, obviously we would want to, you know, position those in here on the wing. I'm not going to do all of this, but you know, wherever you want to put them, like if you wanted to put them on the wingtip, you would get them and put them up there on that wingtip. Take me forever to do this. I'm sure people are a lot faster. I'm not super good with Blender. You know, put them up here on the wingtip and get them exact, and you know, you just click on the light, show gizmo, and then you got the gizmo, and you know, just move them. And here's where you read what they are, and this is going to look kind of funny because this is going to be the only light where they're at. But yeah, you'd have to go through with all of them and get them exactly positioned. But you might want to also have some graphical, you know, an actual light container to hold them, or you know, a light assembly, physical assembly on the aircraft, like you have here for the, you know, for the taxi light. Yeah, that's so. There's your lights. You have, you know, all your engine. Like I said, be sure to save your files. You know, save that. And here, how I save it is, you know, excluding these. I'll just send this to a compressed file and throw it on, or not, or just copy it out directly. But I'll just save it to my desktop. Now you could just, you know, this one's already on my desktop, so I can't really save it the way. Normally I would just go in the SDK and say I'm working on this test airport and I want to save it. I'll just save that folder out to my desktop. That way I can bork this or test with it all I want and then restore it. So, always back up your work, especially if you start working with these systems file, these two. Start messing with these, you better have your stuff backed up, or this one. I should say specific parts of this one for sure, because you can really bork things if you're not careful. And that's why I'm not real good with those. So yeah. Yeah, let's go look and maybe smooth that glass out, because I'm curious how I got that so fuzzy looking. Maybe it does require that roughness to be cut down. Because, I don't know. Oh, the lights. I know I saved for the rest of it. Alright, so let's get out of the game, change that, and do one more test. I'm kind of running. Actually, I'm going to save that. I'll go ahead and edit the model. I think I'm pretty sure is what's wrong with the glass and why it was looking fuzzy. Is I mean, in Jonks's video, he looked at metallic, which is 0, and roughness, yeah. And he sets the roughness at 0.05. If I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look at my notes, but we're going to try 0.05 real quick. Because that sure did look, and that may not be it. I may be looking at something else. There may be some other reason entirely. That surely looked odd. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try that. But as I say, that goes through the windshield properties. So yeah, that's what we're testing. And the occluder did work, so we don't have to test that. That's cool. Let's try this glass property. I'm pretty sure that'll do us. Hey, well, I'll at least be inside. In the cockpit now instead of in the back seat when we spawn in. Cool. The next one is flight animations. So that's when, for me, that's the stuff I like. This here is, like I said, I call this in the construction industry, we'd call this kind of stuff rat killing, where you're just doing the little piddly stuff, that kind of stuff nobody wants to do, takes forever, tons of little bitty jobs. Grab some more coffee while that loads in. I think I could probably look at this in the hangar, but I want to go back to where repeat even with the rain effect probably, and make sure it's clear. See if that actually what I'm looking at. So you can definitely get the glass clear with just the Microsoft settings, but If this fixes it, you still have to go into the surface settings and adjust the roughness. I'm just not clear. I mean, you know, if we have a PBR file, then we shouldn't need the blender. But then I'm not putting the PBR file in the game yet, so. You know, in other words, if you separate this to PBR, then you probably don't want to adjust that surface setting. You want it, you know, you would do it through the comp file itself, or the norm file. Which one's roughness? Comp. I expected this to be a short video. See if this fixes that. Cloudy glass. Hope I didn't have my mic muted there. I'm trying to. Silly mistakes. I expected this to be a shorter video. Not turning out that way. Time just flies when you're having fun. Hopefully that'll fix the glass. Probably could have just gone into the hanger here, but Yeah, originally it's not that I mind doing longer ones, but the idea was to break this up into small enough chunks that it was easier to find reference, you know. But it's hard to do. You just you get to adjusting this or that, and everything's intertwined. Should really figure out where my settings are, see if I can save out my settings file so I can drop it to lower settings or something. Well, there we go. That's better. At least we're in the right spot this time, which means, yeah, our wheels are looking good. And the glass doesn't look foggy. So I guess we still do need to set that in the surface settings. The roughness needs to be reduced. Alright, there's our own. There isn't very... Oh, there we go. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised because this window, my understanding was it had to be completely inside that occluder. But this one is only like halfway in and we're getting rain on it already. And now if you don't see rain, get out here and make sure it's not on the outside of your window. If you can see it from out here and you can't see it from inside, flip your window around. There we go. So that concludes this video. We got the placements down a little bit. Sooner or later, I may do that off camera or whatever. It's you know, reassign a few more textures. And we'll continue the next one and see if we can't get some animation started, which for me is a little bit more fun than setting up the configs and such. So we'll talk to you in just a bit. You have a good day.